Perfect. We're live.
We're live.
I'm
I'm
ju-
gonna announce it.
oh yeah, perfect. If you could just get the Twitter link and put it in Discord.
Yeah.
Nice one. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Vault. This one's a special one. Couple of reasons. Firstly, it's the first episode after the election, and we're at Bitcoin all-time high. And secondly, it's special because we've got a good friend, Atomis from Castle Cap, joining us. So first of all, Atomis, how are you doing? Glad to have you here today.
Yes, good to be here as well. I'm all good, thank you. Just wrapping up a busy week as always, but pleasure to be chatting to you boys.
Awesome, awesome. And Mo, I mean, you couldn't join me on the election live stream that we did, but always glad to have you here as well.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to be on here every single week.
And we've already got some comments saying, "Look, this is going to be Moon November. We're in the month of November now. Trump has won the election. Bitcoin's at all-time high. It's pretty crazy, actually. If I mean, I feel euphoric. I don't know about you guys. Atomis, you mentioned earlier that you haven't been trading too much, but how do you feel like the vibes are right now?
Yeah, the vibes are good. Obviously, there's a lot of euphoria. In fact, I've seen um, some guys I used to spend a lot of time with and haven't seen in a long time be very euphoric in the chat the last day or two. So people are coming out the woodwork again. And yeah, we're seeing markets move and liquidity move. So it should be interesting to watch. Um, I think it'll just be time will tell how distracted analysts and researchers get now that price is moving again. This is always the balance that we see as a kind of research house.
Awesome, awesome. And Mo, I know that you're definitely feeling euphoric. You called this as well in the last episode. How are you feeling about the market right now?
Man, I'm feeling great actually, but it's great. Like Bitcoin's at 76K, Solana's at $200, and ETH is still below $3,000. But
Okay,
it's good, man. It's good. Everything's pumping.
cool,
Hopefully, we'll get a good end of the year result.
cool, cool, awesome, awesome. And I see a lot of people tuning in right now. Hello, guys. How are all of you guys doing? Let's put some of your comments on the screen. Nice to see you all tuning in. Happy Friday, guys. Let us know how you're feeling. Are you feeling euphoric as well? Like some of us are, because yeah, I'm definitely feeling euphoric. Anyway, I think first things first. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Well, we're all traders, right? And one thing that we finally saw was, of course, Bitcoin hitting that all-time high. I think let's kind of share my screen and show you what I'm talking about here. This is
Wow.
it. Yeah.
Wow.
How long have we been ranging for since that all-time high back in March?
It's like,
238 days,
yeah,
239
eight
days.
months.
Finally breaking out and pretty much in price discovery. Mo, like what are your thoughts now about like Bitcoin? Like it's kind of up there. What like how do you feel about it and like what do you think is going to happen next?
I mean, this was perfect textbook plays like low, high, higher, low, higher, high. It was perfect. It was all lining up ahead of the elections. And we saw it as it rejected a bit from 73K like 2 weeks ago. It dumped right back to support around like 68, and it just went up as Trump was winning.
And what do you think is going to happen next?
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we just keep going up to like 80K, and I also wouldn't be surprised if we go back to maybe 70 or 69. But either way, like every dip is worth buying right now. Like we're in price discovery, so if I see Bitcoin at 67, 69 or 70K or maybe 71, I'm gonna bid. That's
Interesting. Interesting,
how
interesting.
about you?
And well, first of all, just a disclaimer to everyone listening. Like everything in this show is not financial advice. We're just two idiots that don't know what's going on about the market. Please don't listen to us because you'll probably end up losing money. But yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting strategy. I think I mentioned that I basically bought Bitcoin like around here, this area here, and I'm just chilling with it. To be honest with you, I'm holding it spot. Don't really want to kind of trade it much. I like the idea of just like holding it and just letting it go. So yeah, I'm not sure where things are going to go in the near future. It kind of surprised me seeing how much like things are pumping right now. Didn't expect it to be like this euphoric this quickly. Especially with like how quickly like altcoins kind of moved up. Atomis, like, do you hold Bitcoin first of all? And like, if so, like, what do you do with it? Are you someone who has it in cold storage? Are you someone who likes to trade it, or do you like to earn yield on it in DeFi? Like, what's your kind of strategy with Bitcoin?
Um, I don't actually hold any bit or a tiny bit, and that's kind of over in a hardware wallet, and maybe played a bit with like ordinals and runes back in the day.
Yeah.
But probably I think I put some there and then kind of ran out of time to really do much and play. I think it's one of those things that if I'm advising other people, who are coming into crypto, then obviously Bitcoin's a large part of their portfolio, but I've definitely fallen into the altcoin trap this cycle, as many have, I'm sure. So, yeah, I'm obviously like super bullish on Bitcoin itself, but you get these degens that obviously want to chase higher returns.
Fair enough, fair enough. So then my follow-up question to you then is, okay, I mean, I was in a similar position to you not too long ago as well. If it's not Bitcoin that like makes up a core of your portfolio, what is the asset for you this cycle?
Um, I mean, unfortunately, I have very much been like more of an ETH maxi, and I have like sat on like GMX stockpiles from past, both of which aren't doing very well at all. So, but it's a long game on that side of things. I think other than that, I like to like play it with, or have in the past played much more with like low caps in specific sectors. Be it AI or deep in. But definitely this cycle has taught us that actually like low caps are just not worth it. Like the liquidity's not there, and you're better off betting on like certain majors, whether it's all L1s or like AI coins like Tau, etc. If you had just bid like Bitcoin Sol, Sui, and Tau, like you'd be pretty comfy no matter what. And really, I'm just interested to see whether that changes with with this new essentially like change of perspective and change in the markets. And then other than that, I think I just again gone down the risk curve on the meme side and gone for a couple like OG ETH memes, but that aren't, they're still sub 100 market cap kind of thing. But yes, a lot of my portfolio is an absolute state, and I haven't looked at it in like 3 months. So,
but you know what? I respect it. You still have like a decent barbell strategy. Like you have like some things that like you have good conviction in, like ETH, solid kind of assets. They're not going to go anywhere. But then you also kind of go down the risk curve as well, and like look at some of your AI coins or deepen coins, or also some of the meme coins as well. I like that. I think overall, like like you've definitely still put some thought into it. You might think like it sounds like a mess, but it might not actually be. It might be a pretty solid portfolio. You mentioned ETH. I think Mo, like something interesting has happened in the last couple of days where ETH has actually been outperforming Bitcoin. And I think just before the show, both you and I, we were talking about whether or not we're actually changing an era. ETH has basically underperformed Bitcoin for like 3 years almost. I think you can see this pretty clearly if you look at like the ETH Bitcoin chart, which if I zoom out really a lot, I'm gonna have to zoom out a lot here. Yeah, here we circled it. September 22. We've basically been in a downtrend like ever since then. Okay, not 3 years, 2 years, sorry. Um, but yeah, in the last few days, we actually hit one of these targets that we actually spoke about. And things seem to be improving. Mo, what do you think? ETH, is it back or not?
As of the strength it's been showing for the last 3 days, it looks like it's coming back, but we'd still like need a break above maybe 0.04 or 0.041. That way it solidifies its strength like over Bitcoin.
So I'll just mark this on the chart. So 0.041. Yeah, I see this area here.
Yeah,
Okay, fine, fair enough. But
like
what do you think about the
because
ETH
like
USD chart though?
most of the damage is done. Most of the damage was done to ETH BTC. Like it's been underperforming for 3 years maybe, and it's been down like how much? More than 50%.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Um, Atomis, like, ETH's been in a bit of bother. Like, I think you've probably seen this on the timeline as well. What has your thoughts been around, ETH the asset? All of these issues where like ETH itself isn't earning the same revenue anymore. Because of like L2s who are kind of capturing everything, but also like the fact that the ETH ETFs have been a bit underperforming. You got like Uniswap making like their own chain now, kind of they want the MEV and they want the revenue for themselves. How have you interpreted like all of this stuff happening to ETH over the last, let's say, 6 months to a year?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely in the camp that like Ethereum, like as a network and how it's progressing is positive and bullish. Like everything's going well. I think the market is like being a bit impatient and like naive a bit in terms of the upgrade we're about to see, for example, in the new year is not going
Mm,
to be like a crazy big one like Denkun previously. Like we're not going to have those sorts of things happen anymore, and I think people will continue likely to undervalue ETH until it kind of shows and proves that once all the interoperability of these L2s comes together, and we start actually seeing, people take the piss still out of, L2s and L3s popping up all over the shop. But like once this like thesis plays out, which, I believe it will, all these corporations coming into crypto and wanting to get involved, like they're not building on Solana really, are they? They're choosing to build like a super chain L2 or build on the Orbit stack. And I think once we have a more seamless interoperability of those kind of chain clusters, um, we'll start seeing the value much more, and people will stop valuing ETH based off its like sequence of fees or whatever. Like that's not what ETH should be valued at on anyway.
so what do you think ETH should be valued on?
Well, I guess if like if ETH is like the base network that all these things rely on, then ETH is simply like the money, the gas, the like the energy that runs it, right? Um, Essentially, if ETH wants to scale to thousands of chains, like we can't be thinking about like the PE ratio of ETH right now. Like that's just what's the point?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I like what you mentioned. Like we actually are seeing like major corporations like come into crypto and kind of launch their own L2. We saw it with like the centralized exchanges, Coinbase with Base. Saw it recently with Kraken. Even like big tech companies like Sony, I think even making their own L2 on Optimism. So I think long term, I think I'm also bullish on ETH. I think short term, especially for the coming cycle, I still find it a little bit tricky to see how ETH is going to outperform the other two giants. The big one, of course, being Bitcoin, but also the other kind of new giant in the space, which is Solana. Mo, you've been pretty active on Solana, especially with meme coins. I think all of us actually have. but what are your thoughts on Sol at the moment? It's just pushed past $200. I think it's at all-time high market cap, if I'm not mistaken. Is this gonna continue? Is it? Do you think actually as well? On top of that, is there a chance that Sol could flip ETH, or am I just being outrageous there?
The strength we're seeing in Solana right now is undeniable. Like it's been outperforming everything for the last maybe 1 year. Uh, do I like? I believe we can get an all-time high for Solana before the end of the year. Like it's not even that hard anymore. It's maybe at 30%.
Let's have a look. You're
It's
right.
maybe
I
a
don't
thirty
think it's
percent,
that high actually.
which is very
Uh,
doable. Like
yeah. Shall we actually see how much it is? To
it
go
is. It is. It's like
260.
yeah, 200 to 260 is
Gosh,
30%.
it's
Yeah.
only 30% away. That's kind of mad.
Yeah, and take if you take a look at the Sol against Bitcoin chart, it's almost at all-time high. Sol against ETH is in price discovery. Sol is dominating. It's obvious.
And
No, no,
I think one of the reasons is because of the meme coin super cycle.
yeah,
Um, do you think
it
like
made you very
yeah, but do you think
made you
that's going to
access
continue
to
for the
ETH.
next year?
Who knows? Depends if something captures more attention. But for now, nothing is capturing attention like meme coins.
So my question now to both of you, Mo, you go first, then we'll go with Atomist. Out of the three, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, if you just had to pick one for the next 12 months, what would you go for?
For the next 12 months,
Yeah.
probably Sol.
Ooh, okay. And what about you, Atomist?
Yeah, I do agree.
Sol as well.
There's so much you can do with Solana.
With that in mind, why do we even hold Bitcoin and ETH?
It's
Uh,
probably because we were spoon fed what's called diversification.
maybe, maybe, maybe.
Yeah, but you asked me if Solana could flip ETH. I think
Yeah.
it's a bit too early to say this because Ethereum's market cap is like 4 or 5 times as much as Solana's. So the Sol ETH chart has to go up like do a 4x. I wouldn't say this. Like I wouldn't expect this
Yeah, it's
anywhere in like
3.5x.
the in it's probably if it were to happen, it's probably would take like 10 years.
Yeah.
It's the ETH flip thing we saw. Everybody was talking about it like yeah, ETH will flip Bitcoin, and it didn't end up that way.
So basically, what you're saying is when the whole of CT starts talking about the flippening, that's probably when we should actually think about selling.
Probably.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, cool. I think we spoke about some interesting things there with Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. Maybe we should kind of talk about what's interesting you in the market. But both of you. Like for me as well, I think AI is definitely like one of the most interesting things. I love BitTensor. It's like one of my favorite AI protocols in the market right now, just because like how many cool subnets there are really. But like Atom is like any specific sector. I think you mentioned AI and Deepin earlier, but like anything specific and kind of like yeah, what do you think about them?
Yeah, I think actually my probably biggest interest at the moment is around like account abstraction and chain abstraction,
Uh-huh.
and like the smart wallets and tools will probably see try and change how we onboard users into crypto and just make our user experience that much that much better. Firstly, from like a chain abstraction point of view, so making chains it easier to switch between chains and operate for users like us, but then also like real groundbreaking smart wallet applications that will essentially allow completely new users and retail to come in and experience on chain in a way that you know we are very happy not to do, but that essentially I believe we're at a place where no one new is going to come into this space. Like everyone until that happens, like um, everyone who has been exposed to crypto, like I guess unless you're like just come of age the last few years, whatever, like they would have come, they would have seen the like the UX and like how it was to interact on chain, and they would have left and not come back. Like essentially that hasn't changed too much in the last few years, like comparing to last cycle. So I believe to really like usher a large new wave of users, and I'm sure you guys are very aware, being a derivatives DeFi platform, especially looking at options, like there aren't that many true users like wanting to use these things, and until we get over like the biggest hurdle, which is like the user experience of like wallets and using chains and apps, then we're not going to see like true growth in usership. So very interested on that side, which is why as well, like I spoke earlier about interoperability of chains as well. So obviously the fact that you guys are moving to Bearer, like we still should be living in a world where you can interact seamlessly between other L2s and like an L1 like Bearer, and hopefully one day also separate ecosystems like Sol.
I think we'll get there. I'm seeing a lot of like intent-based kind of stuff, kind of helping with this abstraction. Any specific apps or widgets or wallets that like capture your attention with this narrative?
It's wanting to like look at the impact that obviously like Coinbase Smart Wallet does have, but the
Hmm.
other one we're looking at is Ambire. It's a kind of smart wallet extension. They're just kind of going into a beta phase now, I believe. But there's also many more like Ethereum improvement proposals that need to go through to really kind of move us past this, what we've essentially become comfortable with EOAs, which future users like won't be.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. And agree. And I think this is actually a really critical part of like how we're thinking at IVX as well. We want to make, the entire trading application process, simple, easy. And like one of the ways that you can do that is by incorporating some of these account abstraction features. So we have, features where, you don't have to you don't need a wallet to start trading on IVX. You can log in with your email, log in with your Twitter account, log in with your social platforms. We are going to also try and get on ramp directly in the app itself. You don't need USDC, you don't need Bitcoin, you don't need ETH, you don't need Bearer. You can literally have euros, pounds, dollars, whichever currency our partners support, and directly kind of, fill your account, within 90 seconds. These are like some really, really important things that, we're going to try and implement. And I think you're absolutely right. Makes the entire experience so much better. And you're right. Like the current experience that we have isn't good enough. What you mentioned about kind of the users from last cycle coming back, and there isn't really that much difference, and we are kind of in a bubble. I agree with you on that. So I think it's something at IVX that we're really thinking about a lot. So yeah, I love that, and I think account abstraction is super, super important.
hmm While you were just talking about like IVX, then I wanted to ask you, if you guys are so bullish on Sol, how come you didn't look to launch on Solana?
I think we're even more bullish on Berachain. That's why. I think Sol is awesome. Actually, Sol is actually one of the best places to be. I think in general, me personally, I'm not like a maxi to any specific chain. I probably still use like ETH mainnet like quite a lot actually. I'm always open to like chains and kind of finding opportunities. I think Berachain specifically has like number one, it is definitely got a DeFi kind of core focus. I think a lot of that comes from the concept of proof of liquidity, but also like the type of application that we are as well, right? We offer 0 day to expiry options. They're exciting, they're fun. When you trade them, it's like a roller coaster. Your adrenaline goes crazy, and I think with that, the vibes match up very much to what the bearers are like. We have an app that has two buttons, a green one and a red one, and you can trade at 100x, 200x, 500x leverage. and enjoy the roller coaster that comes with the market. So yeah, I think it's a match made in heaven for us, I think.
Indeed, yeah, that's it. So even though obviously you're not bullish on maybe I guess Ether as an asset, you're still bullish on like the EVM as it is.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I love using everything to do with Ethereum. I use Optimism, I use Arbitrum, I use Base, I use all of the kind of. I try and use some of the new L2s as well that pop up. I use ETH mainnet a lot. So yeah, even though I might not be bullish on ETH the asset, I'm certainly so bullish on Ethereum, and I don't think that'll ever change. Ultimately, though, like we're all traders, and I think we realize that like price doesn't always match up to fundamentals. And so yeah, like trading is a different story altogether. So I think you can still be bullish on something even though like the kind of trading action behind that asset is doesn't kind of match up, if that makes sense.
yep, definitely. I think well, what you can do, I guess, is that's how you can structure your barbell or diversify. You can go all in on Sol, but build on the EVM.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you mentioned account abstraction. What is it? Are there any like sectors or of crypto or any kind of particular protocols where there are assets that you are keen on investing in, or there's some interesting trading opportunities or anything like that? I know you mentioned AI, and yeah, we can definitely look at some AI kind of coins as well because we like to look at the markets associated with them too. But I wanted to see if there's anything specific that interested you.
Um, Look, I think I'm super interested in AI and like what people like BitTensor are trying to do with like scaling all these interesting and niche subnets, but it's not something I've dived too much in. It's definitely a part that's like I'll just allocate some portion to some specific small cap in that sector and see how it goes.
Hmm.
But not able necessarily to fully keep up unless we're doing like a deep dive on a specific thing. Um, I am more looking at like wider ecosystems, so like a lot of research into um, chains like Bearer and like upcoming launches like Monad, etc., and trying
Yep.
to understand like the ecosystems that are building there and how those chains are trying to create their edge, like whether it is their virtual machine themselves, like their consensus mechanism, or like something in Bearer, like the underlying proof of liquidity and
What do you think about the Monad
reinventing
ecosystem?
incentives. Um, to be honest, like I'm fairly bullish on Monad. I think like on both Bearer and Monad, kind of equally. I think I've seesaw between which one I prefer, just based on like where we are in the market. I guess like they they go for completely different target audiences, in my opinion. So I think Monad obviously has a lot more. It looks more professional, has a much more like institutional backing. You would assume they come in like with super fast execution, like really high quality order books, and like a very good like exchange trading experience across the board, and probably easier for them to onboard like institutions essentially onto the chain. Verachain obviously much more of like a on-chain native culture vibes. So they've like going for a completely different playbook there, but their proof of liquidity mechanism allows them that if they do get the community and the culture and the marketing right, they have a potential to go viral, right? And then if that virality leads to like the POL mechanism kind of supercharging, then it's going to be super interesting.
There you go, Mo. There's your alpha.
Interesting, because I wouldn't I wouldn't speculate on anything right now for Monad because I don't think there's a test net. There's nothing to speculate on. It's all just thesis. I'm not even trying to be like the, the person that's hating, but they've like everything they talk about is like this 10,000 transaction per second, but there's no like the mainnet will be out in maybe Q3 or Q4 next year. There's no test net. There's nothing to build your thesis on.
Yeah, valid. I see what you mean. I think the testnet's coming this month or next, but yeah, for sure, it's all talk and it's all like research up until now, and we have to see what comes of it, right, and what they're able to convert those their rays and their ecosystem into. Um, how do you feel
Exactly.
about Hyperliquid and them opening up their EVM essentially to builders? Like,
The
are we gonna?
hyperliquid question that goes to Waj. Waj is the hyperliquid king.
I mean, I'm not the king. I just like trading on there sometimes. Um, I went to the Hyperliquid event in Singapore as well. Had a really good time. Got to meet Jeff as well, the founder, as well as some of the other core team. I really like it, and I think in general, I'm just very excited for like these new generation of chains. You know, Chain, Monad, Hyperliquid, Movement, Initia, Mega ETH. I think these are like the kind of new generation of chains coming out that I think have like significant tech upgrades, have actual ecosystems. They're not ghost chains. They have like revenue capture. Like I think it's I think it's going to be fun. For me, like one of the cool things is always like something that Jani from the Honey Jar said, which was like it doesn't matter about TVL. It doesn't really matter about some of these kind of metrics that we always look at. One of the most important things that matters is like the total number of things to do. And if there's more things to do, then it's going to get people engaged. It's going to get people interested. As long as there's things to do, things are going to go well. And for me, like that's one of the things I'm most excited about with all of these ecosystems, having things to do. And like one of the great things as well is I feel like we're entering this paradigm where, previously pretty much everything to do was speculation. And I think speculation is actually great. It's actually one of the best things around. But also, I love the idea of like having non-speculative things to do as well. And I think we're definitely entering that age now with the rise of consumer apps too. So yeah, I think in terms of Hyperliquid, excited, but also very very excited for all of the chains that I mentioned.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's why you know, I think we're quite bullish on Bearer because of the ecosystem they've managed to create, right? And because of essentially like proof of liquidity, like although it can take a while for people to get their heads around, or it might scare some people off, like what it's led to is that teams like you guys have had to rethink your protocol, rethink how you go about designing your trading system or your vaults and your incentive systems for your users and LPs so that you're not just forking your product on this chain. Like that's how you create dead chains, and that's how we have dead L2s, because like over farmed whatever scroll linear manta whatever, there's just people just deploy forks there to farm the incentives and the rewards. So because there was no incentive to innovate your product essentially. So I like how Bearer essentially forced people to with proof of liquidity really.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think it's going to create one of the most vibrant ecosystems that that we have in crypto today. Super, super looking forward to it. Right, I think let's go back to kind of talking about some of the stuff happening in the market. Mo, I think we should actually look at some kind of altcoins and kind of see what's been going on because there's been some crazy stuff happening. One thing that I actually
Let's
wanted.
take a look at Athena.
Athena. Oh yeah, that's a very very good one. So Athena is really really interesting because they recently had a proposal which Wintermute actually submitted, which was to do with revenue share for the actual governance token itself. So for reference, for those of you who don't know Athena, they have a stable coin called USDE. Their product is built around funding rate arbitrage on assets like ETH. And so far, they've made millions and millions and millions of dollars from this. As the funding rate for ETH goes up, you can create these delta neutral positions where you're able to capture those funding rates. And Athena launched at a pretty high valuation. It traded at $1.50 and absolutely got obliterated. I mean, if you held this token, man, you would have been down like almost 87% from launch. This is like one of the reasons why we had this crazy we had this crazy narrative about low float, high FTV, and I think now that's certainly changed. The market's kind of gave back a lot of this kind of high FTV stuff. But yeah, it was very, very interesting for me to kind of read about the idea of revenue share. And I think now with Trump in power, Trump himself is building a DeFi protocol. Perhaps regulation around DeFi improves. Maybe we will be able to see like more revenue share with governance tokens. We saw it kind of briefly talked about with Aave and Uniswap. Maybe now we're going to see it with Athena. And Athena is a money printer. They actually capture a lot of revenue. And if some of this can get passed into the Athena token, then maybe that is a reason for people to speculate. And that's maybe one of the reasons why it's been pumping pretty well. What do you guys think about it? Mo, any thoughts?
I do think that the low float high FDV like play kind of changed right now because of like how much damage has been done to these VC coins. Like every single one you can name is that went down like 80% as a minimum. But we're seeing like some sort of shift. We can like look at look at Athena, looking at who else? Let me think. Let's look at Wormhole. I remember Wormhole like went very high, then went even lower.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's look at Wormhole. Atomus, did you have any thoughts on Athena? Like, is that something that you've been following?
Yeah, one thing we do follow quite closely is governance. So yeah, definitely saw that from Wintermute. I think it'll be interesting, as you say. Like they are an absolute money printer. We did recently write a report on kind of delta neutral stable coins, looking at Athena and Resolve a few weeks ago. I think definitely DeFi hopefully can come back. I think you probably saw Mark Zeller as well talk about Aave yesterday, and saying him and his kind of company who runs more of like the governance service provider structures within Aave were going to essentially fulfill what he calls Aavenomics, which essentially will be, I guess, this kind of fee switch and like pushing much more bullish momentum towards a token like within the next quarter or two. So yeah, both Aave, Athena, and then we're also seeing obviously like upwards price pressure on Uniswap, etc. So I don't want to get too excited because every time we think DeFi's back, over the last few years, it has not been back at all. So, but yes, I think with Trump, winning the election and some of the implications we'll have within US government, hopefully we'll have utility tokens be viewed through a different lens, essentially. So more utility and more fee sharing will hopefully come out of it. And that obviously leads to, fee machines in DeFi doing well.
Yep, absolutely. And I think you can clearly see, like in all three of those assets, Athena, Aave, and Uniswap, like the kind of upward trend that we've had over the last couple of weeks, and certainly over the last few days. I think is also really, really interesting when you just zoom out a little bit and you just see, like, actually, this is just like the tiniest blip ever compared to last cycle where things were absolutely insane. So yeah, I guess still a long way to go, but I think it's positive to see. Okay, Mo, you said let's have a look at some of these VC coins. So maybe we can look at Wormhole first, see what's happening there. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't kept up with what's been going on with Wormhole and Wormhole governance and stuff like that. Is this a chart that you think is possibly bottomed? I don't know, Mo, any insights?
I wouldn't say it's bottomed because of its strength, rather than I would say it's bottomed because Bitcoin is going up. So
Fine.
I wouldn't know what this coin would do if Bitcoin were to go in a chopping range once again. Like if it just kept chopping around 75K for like a month or two, what would happen to this? Like would it go down more? Would it go down less? I
Fine,
wouldn't
fair
know.
enough. I mean, Tia is also kind of similar as well. Another VC coin had a massive run up, massive rundown. I think we talked about this in recent episodes, which is why I still got the arrows here. Yeah, how are you looking at this? Oh, have we lost Mo?
Oh, uh, I would say Celestia has bottomed only
Interesting.
because like a huge unlock happened maybe 4 or 5 days ago,
Ah,
and
okay.
it somehow managed to survive that. Like it didn't make a newer low, so it's probably good to go.
Okay, good. Okay. Talking about AI coins, right? There's one AI coin that I think I mentioned is like one of my favorites, but it hasn't been performing that well in recent days, actually. I would have thought that following Trump, AI coins like continue to do well, but last couple of days it's been bit iffy, and I think maybe I should just zoom out and look at it from a longer time perspective. But like I wondered if you guys had any thoughts on Tau itself. Tau's a really exciting one for me. It's got some big upgrades coming out in the next year. There's one called Dynamic Tau, which is going to change the way that incentives are given on the network. It's also going to give every single one of those subnets, which is now increased to 64, their own token as well. Uh, it will be a token that's only tradable with Tau itself. So you'll have to buy Tau if you want to get exposure to those individual subnets. And there's EVM coming to BitTensor as well. There's a whole range of things coming. So I think long term things look good for BitTensor. But yeah, I wondered like in the short term, how do you think the AI space is going to go? Maybe Atomis, you want to have a go first?
Yeah, you look, I am obviously super bullish on like AI coins, and especially ones that can actually bring some useful utility and application to um, their like intersection with crypto. I've, to be honest with you, never really understood Tao's price action. Like for a long time, it doesn't seem to necessarily move with its upgrades or with specific Tao news. But I know it has a lot of power over like smaller AI coins itself. So
It's got a real
um,
cult as well, hasn't it?
definitely. I think the other problem when you have a cult is that um, you might run out of sellers, but maybe you've run out of buyers at points as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether Tao has suffered from the like new AI agent meme hype recently or not.
Mm.
But everyone's definitely chasing more that side of things. I would say, and I'm sure if you pulled up like the GOAT chart, it would look a lot more bullish than Tao
Let's have a look.
over the last few days.
I'll have to just go on a yeah. I mean, this is not that far. I mean, this was pretty much at all-time high a couple of days ago. Not far off all-time high, and yeah, this still looks fairly strong, doesn't it? Mo, anything you're looking at in the AI space? There's one that I'm looking at that launched recently that we'll talk about in a moment, but wanted to see if there's anything else you're looking at. Have we lost him?
Oh, I muted. I
Ah,
said I'm not really that tapped into the AI space, but I've been monitoring two specific coins. One of them is Act One. I think
Act
you've traded
One.
it, Watch.
Oh yes, it's the meme coin.
Yeah, it's like
Let's
an
have a look.
AI meme coin. Uh,
Um,
the second one is
Act
AI
One.
16Z.
Oh, I have also been tracking that one. So
Mm.
this is an AI agent meme coin. I'll be honest, I haven't been following what's been going on here actually recently. So looks like it's fairly steady at the moment. Doesn't have particularly bullish or bearish momentum right now. Looks like it's just range bound at the moment. Mo, any insights here?
Still waiting to see some strength to start catching, like bidding to start buying some.
Fair
But for
enough.
now, it's not showing that much of strength.
AI
Mm.
16Z was a crazy one. That is Yeah, I mean, in recent weeks, in recent days, sorry, I've heard a lot of people start talking about this one. I'll be honest, I haven't followed exactly what's going on here. I know that there's some link with A16Z. I don't know if any of you two know like exactly what it is.
No, not exactly. I did read a little bit about it, but I think it's more. I'm not sure. It had some link to someone following it or mentioning it, but it doesn't like operate essentially as like kind of like a venture fund agent.
Yeah, something like
Um,
that. Something like that. Mo, have you been trading this? Is he muted again? Maybe. Oh, he's
um,
left. He's left.
the other
Gone.
one that I've been looking at, just wrote about it actually today in the newsletter was 01 Labs, DEAI, and I just to be
Ah,
honest,
that's an
I
interesting
just
one.
looked at the chart. I hadn't even looked at the chart yet, but it's yeah, just staircased up for the last while.
Interesting. Let me pull that one up too. Let's have a look. Ah, that has been wow, that's actually been doing pretty well for the last well, for the last couple of months almost.
Yeah,
Like wow, wow, pretty interesting. 5x up. The one that I was going to talk about was Grass, like
of
one of the
course.
latest new launches that we've had. This like really surprised me. Like, don't get me wrong, I thought Grass was great, but I mean, this is like one of the best TGEs I've ever seen. I
Uh,
mean,
New shiny coin.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Incredible timing of the market.
why did an eigenlayer do this though?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, to be honest. I think a lot of it obviously has to do with like the market conditions in general,
Yeah.
but and everyone just wanting to bid like a new shiny chart. But then again, who knows? Um, maybe the fact that it's on Sol.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, I definitely had a lot of fun trading and LPing on the first day. But yeah, this definitely caught me by surprise, and I unfortunately didn't catch this move, which is a shame because it's actually such a. I really, really like grass, but it is what it is. Can't catch them all.
Mhm.
I'm a bit wary of time. I think we've been going for about 45 minutes now. So I think we'll just see if any of you guys have any questions for us, any questions for Atomist. But also I want to give you a bit of a chance to really educate the hundreds of people who are tuning in right now what Castle is, what they can learn from you guys, and yeah, put the spotlight on Castle for now.
Lovely, cheers. Yeah. So um, we operate as a kind of research collective. We are active across the space. We write a weekly newsletter. We write long form reports across several different topics, kind of mainly deep dives going 4 or 5 thousand word plus, really getting into the technicalities of ecosystems, protocols, and their mechanisms, but trying to abstract that complexity as much as possible with lots of infographics, etc. Um, we support teams behind closed doors in their kind of marketing strategies, helping incubate their teams in terms of marketing content, community, and we do a lot of work within Arbitrum DAO, where we are like quite an active delegate, and we are service providers within the DAO into several different work streams. So anything within the kind of DeFi L2 space will be super tapped into, um, and we're just here to kind of help support teams and grow specific ecosystems in many different places.
Wonderful. And how can the viewers like kind of get involved or read some of this research?
Yep. So just head over to our Twitter. It's castle double underscore cap. Or you can go to chronicle.castlecapital.vc where you'll find our blog and our newsletter there. But yeah, if you find my Twitter or their or our Twitter, you'll find all the links through. Um, and we just dropped our newsletter this morning, so have a little Friday read before the weekend closes out.
There you go. You'll find lots of alpha there. So I think for all of you guys tuning in, go and have a look at some of the recent articles and issues that they've put out. I think I might add that to my to do list as well for the weekend. That would be fun. Um, awesome. Atomis, any last comments that you wanted to make before we wrap things up?
I just wanted to ask you, what's your meme coin of choice for the cycle?
Mate, honestly, I'm terrible at meme coins. I trade them, but like I am so bad at them. Mo, you're gonna be way better at answering this question. Atomis asks a really, really important question. He asks,
Go ahead.
"What is?" Go on, Atomis. Ask it again.
Mo, I want to know what your meme coin of choice is for the entire cycle.
Uh, I'm only holding two meme coins actually, but the one I'm heavily relying on is Mumu the bull.
Is the thesis literally just we're in a bull market, so the bull is gonna go up?
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Even the tokenomics are good, like 70,000 holders. It did like a whale bought a huge amount like 3 months ago, and it wicked to 820 million market cap. So we're also playing the fill the wick scenario.
Man, this is the level that we've gone to. Good tokenomics now equals having a holder base of 80,000.
Yeah, the other one is Dolan.
The most random meme coins ever,
Yeah, I'm
honestly.
not gonna lie, not heard of either of them. So good,
Yeah, you're
good to
not in the
hold for the
trenches,
next.
man.
Good. So you're gonna hold those for 12 months.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I know that one of them's in Murad's list, right?
Uh,
So yeah, I mean,
I
but
I think so.
personally, oh, go ahead, Mo. Sorry.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Personally, I there's a few that I like. I like Ticker Bitcoin, Harry Potter by my son Kinyu, but I don't own any. I just like it. I just like Sprotos and I like the memes. Um, I guess I like Whiff. I found Whiff really interesting. But I feel like I'm a mid curve like talking about Whiff now. I don't know. I just don't feel like it has that same attention like it did once upon a time. So I'll be honest with you, I'm a complete mid curve at memes, and yeah, I think those are the two that I like most, I guess.
Interesting. All right. Well,
What about you?
How about you, man?
well, I mean, we see strength at the moment in like there's always new ones like what we had like cat coins. We had obviously, as
Yeah.
you say, like Pepe Whiff and Bonk, and now we've got like Nero, Goat, and Mudang. So they're strong, but I'm pretty much all in Joe, like Joe the coin. You know, the Eminem guy.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one of Murad's coins too?
You know what? I've tried really hard to not read Murad's thesis or to open his links.
Ooh, okay, okay, okay. But you know what? I remember that coin. I remember it because that was going up at the same time as Ticker Bitcoin and SPX 6900. Like
Yep.
those were the three at the same time.
Pull the
And
chart
two.
up. We're at all-time high.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I need to have a look into this. Very interesting. All right, awesome, guys. I think we're going to wrap things up there. That was actually one of my favorite streams that we've done. Really enjoyed having you on, Atomist. Would be super down to have you or the rest of the Castle team down sometime as well. For all of you who tuned in, happy Friday. Go and read some of the recent articles from Castle Cap. Go and trade some options on IVX as well. Play around with Berachain and enjoy the current all-time high with Bitcoin. And we'll be back next week with another episode.